I always found myself drawn to leather, wine, cigars, things like that. So wherever I would go, whether it be Mexico or anywhere, I would always look for that just neat leather piece. Didn't know that I'd be doing it. I was just always drawn to it. I think that I am a classic man, and I grew up around classic men, and most of the men that I associate with, I think, consider themselves classic men. And by classic, I think there are certain elements that go into that. Leather certainly does define something that is classic, something that is timeless, something that is enduring, something that is durable but also very, very beautiful. And I think leather doesn't define masculinity for me, but it certainly does correspond with it. Man, I've been doing leather goods since the inception of L.Howard, which has been about 2.5, 3 years now. As an artisan, teaching myself the craft. I'm completely self-taught, but it started a long time ago. Most people that know me know the story of my grandfather. I was blessed enough to grow up with my great-grandparents and my grandparents. And my grandfather was pretty successful, raised 7 children, and he was a farmer. They went to college, and he didn't have debt and paid for all that, and he was a farmer and a very strong, very classic guy. You know, one of the first classic men that I grew up around. You know what? You know your grandfather, those men in your life. You know their cologne, you know their clothes. The shoes always shine. They're not extravagant, but they're definitely put together, and they're very, very classic. That was my grandfather. My grandfather wanted me to be a farmer. I was the only boy around him on the farm, and I guess that started my appreciation for nature. And leather is definitely very natural and very much a part of nature. And I think that started me on it. My mother, of course, sewed when I was a kid. I used to spend a lot of time in the material stores with her. My father did woodworking. That started me into woodworking, which was probably one of the first things that I did artistically. I used to carve and make things as a kid and grew into that, making things as an adult. So it's always been a part of my DNA. Well, design for me is very organic in that as I was getting into leather and defining my style as a man or expressing my style as a man, I realized that there were a lot of things that were not really present for men. There are lots of brands that appeal to women and that cater to women, but there was no place that you could really go if you wanted to buy something special for a man. Not some place that you could go that you could count on. And so I think that defines kind of the design aesthetic. I don't do things just for men, but I think the brand is very much about providing that special piece for a man, because classic men, we're going to have 50 of anything. We're going to buy a bag that's going to be our bag. We're going to have a cologne or a couple of colognes, and that's going to be the smell that stays with the kids and the grandkids and the wife, you know, the girlfriend. That's going to be that thing that they remember you by. And so L11, the L11 stands for several things that are very authentic to the person behind the brand. But one of the things that the 11 stands for is one of one. Just like you, there's no other one like you. So the 11 is one of one. So my design aesthetic is about creating something that is obviously, to have a successful business, you have to be able to replicate it. But we have to be able to replicate it in a way that allows authenticity. Something that once we make it for you, there's not another, because it's not mass produced. But we also have to be able to be successful, so we can't just make one and obviously build a business. So the way that we design is to allow us the flexibility to be able to do something custom for a person within a design, but be able to take that design and give that design to people over and over again that defines them as a person, whether it be a hand-finished color, elements as far as the metals and things like that, that enhance it. But every piece is supposed to be a piece that fits you. And one day, it's an heirloom, so that child or that loved one can say, you know what, my father or my mother had this piece and I want it too. 30 years from now, 40 years from now. And leather gives you that quality. Leather gives you that enduring quality, especially if it's full grain leather that we do and a lot of artisans do. We do lots of things, I think, beautiful things. I love the hand finishing, the hand dyeing of pieces. And so I hand dye every bag, or most of the bags that we make have a hand dye finish, and I love that. But the saddle bag is just different. There are very few of them out there. Most of the saddle bags that are on the market are actually from motorcycles or horses. And so people have periodically carried those over time. But there's not a bag in the market aside from the L.Howard, the L11 brand, that is actually built to be worn and not made to be carried. Our bags are designed to be worn and not carried. And so our saddle bags are made for the individual, as opposed to made for the bike and you throw it over your shoulder, or made for a horse, you're gonna throw it over your shoulder. You see those cowboy movies? They have a saddle bag. That bag actually goes on a horse. You see some of the recent shots, maybe from the 70s or 80s. Everybody remembers that bag. Oh, I saw him with a saddle bag, but that saddle bag was not made for a person. It was actually made for the motorcycle, so it falls short. Our saddle bags are designed to actually give you full wearing comfort, security, capability as far as, accommodating our devices for today. No matter what walk of life you're in, the saddle bag is classic, it's beautiful, it is different. When you walk in with an L.Howard saddle bag, everyone is going to notice that is something different that they haven't seen before. So I love the saddle bag. But we're not doing what's popular. This is about doing something that is different, but that's very useful. The saddle bag is different. I mean, everybody has their thing. I can't say, why Rolls-Royce started off in jets. They did. We were like that. I mean, the saddle bag is, as a designer, as someone who went into this and took this up. I went to law school. I'm a lawyer. I didn't set out in life to be a designer. This is all kind of very authentic. It's all very organic. And the saddle bag is just one of those things that for Laddie, for L11, it's just a natural for us. It's a natural for me and my design element. The things that we use as far as the Italian leathers and ostrich, those exotics, they lend themselves to and define something that people haven't seen before. And I think that whenever you're a designer, whenever you're building a brand, if you're doing something that's popular, that means it's been done before. Of course, you can do it better, and I think that we work very hard at being very, very good at what we do. But when you want something that's authentic and something that hasn't necessarily been done before, the saddle bag, if you see it now, I feel comfortable that they're probably taking a page from our book. The saddle bag is unique, and it's unique to L11. Right, no, I don't do anything that's fake. Nothing that's fake. So if you see a bag that looks like ostrich, it's ostrich. If you see a bag that looks like alligator, it's alligator. Our leather bag is 100% leather, full grain leather, and not the veneers of it. A lot of brands, a lot of things that you see there, they're designed to give you an aesthetic. And for a lot of people, aesthetic is important. They're really more concerned with the aesthetic, meaning just the way it looks. But things have to function. And one of the things that's very important for me as a designer and building this brand is not that it has an aesthetic, but that it has longevity, because we're really focused on doing heirloom pieces. The heirloom quality is very, very important to this. As someone who has decided to go all the way with this, one of the things that drives me after I became a professional, after I started earning money and spending money, one of the things that really bothers me is that no matter how much you spend for things, they're all engineered to break. No matter how much your iPhone costs, no matter how much that Mercedes or that Audi cost you, they are engineered so that you have to, within a certain period of time, you have to go back and buy another. Everybody wants to be the next unicorn. I don't care anything about being a unicorn. I care about having something that's enduring. I want to build something that lasts. I want, when I leave here, I want people to be able to say, he did something, he made something. I don't want to be caught up in the swarm of people that are in the .coms trying to build something in the, in the information age where you're just kind of a number. I want to build something that when you leave, it's enduring. You can leave a legacy. That's what leather does if you do it right. So the heirloom thing is huge for L11. It's probably the whole ball of wax. Clientele it runs the spectrum. I mean, it's from 30s to 70s. It's professional. It's blue collar. People that buy L11, they have an appreciation for the artisan nature of things. I mean, the true art of it. They like things that they don't see all of the time. They're black, white, Asian, everyone. They are people who love just the beauty of the product. People come to me and say, I was going to buy a Louis Vuitton bag, but everybody has that bag because they're mass produced. I want something that is going to be mine. So usually people come to me that want something that not everybody else has. And that's probably why they're coming to L.Howard now and buying the L11 brand. You can find me in Columbia, South Carolina. But online, social media, www.l.howardleather.com. Very simple. On social media, Facebook, you can go to L.Howard Artistry and Leather. Instagram is l.howardleather. You can go to my name on Facebook, Laddie Howard, and find postings and access to our products. And anytime you're in South Carolina, you can come to Columbia. And we're also starting to travel and move around a lot. We do a lot of fashion shows, doing more and more events. So we'll probably come into another city close to people that are not in Columbia real soon. Atlanta, we're in Charlotte. We'll be doing DC, all over. We have pieces all over now, Texas, New York, DC, Chicago. I mean, just all over. Africa, Afghanistan. We're getting out there. So leather, as far as the Italian leathers, and I work with top grain. Not all leather is the same. So you can have authentic leather, and it's full grain leather. But then how that leather is actually tanned and the process that it goes through makes a difference. So I actually have certain leathers that I prefer, that I purchase, and so I get those from a local leather source that's a retailer. But my exotics come from various sources. I have alligator hides in there that actually came from the person that hunted them. The ostrich that I use comes from a person that actually had an ostrich farm. So exotics you can't just go and buy exotics, especially not the quality that we have. You have to constantly source and have special sources for those. And those are not readily, you can't just walk into a store and buy those. Well, I think it's a special time. Things are changing. I think that just like people wanted to watch movies, and they used to go out to Blockbuster. And at some point in time, a person came along and said to Blockbuster, hey, this is the new age, and we'd like to partner with you, and because we think that people are going to watch movies this way. And Blockbuster said, no, we got all the corners. They had all the Blockbuster stores around, and that's how people got their movies, and they told the other folk to go away. And Blockbuster isn't around anymore. Now it's Redbox and it's Netflix. Things changed. We're in that process. People are looking for more authenticity. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And people are looking for something that speaks to their authenticity. What I see is something very special. People want something that they have a connection with. And a brand like ours, it's very special for people because people come into the studio and they can see me making a piece. They can see me making their piece, and that's special to them. But most people have never had a connection to leather. They've never, I mean, they love it, they've admired it, but they've never been a part of any brand. They're buying Gucci or any of these other brands, but they have no connection to it. And the special thing about L. Howard is that people are getting to know us, they're supporting and buying the brand, and they have a connection to the story as it's happening. This is not something that is made up for them, that is on a postcard that they read in a magazine or something. They don't know anything about these other brands. In fact, they have no connection to know if that story is authentic or not. They know that what they get here is authentic. They know the background story of me going, how I chose to be a lawyer and a lobbyist and all that, and how I came to leather, and how the L means all of those things that are just significant to me, what the 11 means as far as, the birth of me, the birth of the company, the authenticity of everything being one of one. That's why the brand is L11. They have a connection to that, and they are a part of this as it's happening, not after it's already happened, and now we're just selling you stuff. People are a part of this, and they're growing with it, and that's very special to people because people want to say, you know what, I knew him when, or I was a part of it before it became this, and that's what's happening now. The one thing that I would tell people is it's a special time now because we're still small enough where I actually make every single piece. Every cuff, every bracelet, every portfolio, every single bag, little wallet bag. It requires a lot from me, but if they get a piece now, they're getting a piece that I actually make. We are growing. This is going to be a big brand. We're going to be the next big thing. And at that point, I won't be able to make every single piece myself. So being a part of the brand now is special because I actually make every single piece. I don't order anything in and put my brand on it and then sell it. I don't do that. I design and make every single piece. So it's a special time.